good evening. Listen, this week was amazing. So remember, 2 weeks ago, I said I marked 40 quizzes. Then last week, I said I marked 60 quizzes. I marked over 80 something quizzes this week. So it's a lot of people that should be taking or being real close to taking their exam. So also on the weekend, I was kind of full with the one-on-one. So make sure that if you want to schedule your one-on-one, don't wait till last minute. Go ahead and make the reservation and then make sure you confirm it. So if you made your reservation, but you didn't get a confirmation email, make sure you send me a text or you call me and say, Mr. Tensley, it didn't get approved yet. Because what might happen is somebody else might already have that slot or for whatever reason, I don't know. But make sure if you don't get a confirmation and a personal Zoom link, make sure you call me or text me.
Mr. Tinley, you know you're good with me.
Yeah. We already, me and you already good. Don't worry about that. Yeah. But what happened was, it was like I did like 5 one-on-ones over the weekend, but 2 people who were scheduled, I wasn't able to get in because they I don't know how to, I thought that if somebody already had that spot, it wouldn't even show it up as being available. But 2 people did the same time. So I had to reschedule. So they was a little upset, but it's all right.
It's all right.
All right. So any questions on anything you've been working on this week?
Mr. Tinley.
Yes.
I saw you mark my test. I'm so happy. The need mode and everything. I'm Mr. Tinley, you're the best. I got it. I got them all right.
Yes, and that's the goal. That's the goal. That's the goal. What I say is usually if you score 80 or above, that's like mastery. You can move on, but your goal should be 100. You know what I mean? So that's good. Now, did you do it? Did you do it manually and you didn't use it with the calculator, correct?
No, I didn't do the. I'm still not good with the calculator. I do it manually.
Okay, well, practice with the calculator, because what happens is if you know how to do it with the calculator, you'll do it much faster. Because remember, you only got 120 minutes on your exam.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to save you some time. How you doing, Penny? Any questions? You got anything you was working on this week?
I've basically just been working on the calculator, getting to master that. What can't you do on the calculator? What problems?
Let's see. What can't you do? Algebraic expressions. You can evaluate algebraic expression. It's not too much you can't use the calculator for. Linear equations, system of equations, quadratic equations, evaluating the function, evaluating the expression, almost everything. You can even do the inequalities.
Oh my God. I'm still not Mr. Tinley.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that.
What I would do is I would focus on 3 main areas. You can also do quadratic equations, plugging into because somebody sent me this on a Facebook group. I saw this crazy problem. Where did I have that? Let me see. Let me find it first. It was crazy. Let me find it first. And then hopefully I can find it anyway. What's that for? And through the Facebook group, like nobody was getting it right. I mean, it wasn't that hard, but that means people didn't understand it. So my whole thing is, let me see if I can find it. I hope I can find it for. Is that it? No, that's not it. That's it, I think. There we go.
If you help me too.
There we go.
I have one too, Mr. Tinley.
Okay. Hold on for 1 second. Let me increase the zoom. Okay, let me share my screen. So this was the problem here. It said solve the equation for x. 5x squared minus 4x equals 6. And this gave, and this was on a Facebook group. So I got this from the Facebook group. and it gave, I mean, it had to be like 49 responses, and there was barely anybody got it right. So I wanted to at least introduce it to you so you know how to do a question like this. This on the GED is considered a difficult problem. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it by hand. And then I'm going to show you, of course, how to use the calculator and do it less than a minute. So first of all, you have to recognize that a quadratic equation must be in standard form. AX squared plus BX plus C is equal to 0. That's the first thing that you notice, is that on the right side, this is not equal to 0. So what you're going to do is you got to subtract 6 from both sides. So what you're going to get is 5x squared minus 4x minus 6 is equal to 0. Does everybody understand that part of it?
Yes.
Okay. Now you identify your A, B, and C. So A is 5. B is minus 4. And then C is minus 6. Does everybody understand that part of it? Identifying A, B, and C of your quadratic equation. A is 5, B is minus 4, and C is minus 6. Does everybody understand that part?
Yes.
This
Okay, good.
side I can't get it.
And then you go to your formula sheet, and what you should see on your formula sheet is this formula, the quadratic formula. That's minus B plus or minus B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. And all you're doing is substituting in. So minus B is minus, and B is minus 4. Plus or minus B squared, B is minus 4. So if you notice, every time I have a negative, I'm putting it in parentheses. I want you to notice that. Minus 4 times A, which is 5, times minus 6. All over 2 times 5. And now you're just going to simplify. So 2 negatives make a positive. So we got 4 plus or minus. Negative 4 squared is 16. Minus 4 times 5 is negative 20. Negative 20 times 6 is a positive 120 over 10. Does everybody understand that part? Okay. And this is where most people make their mistakes here. Right here, B is negative 4. And right here, when B is a negative. This is where most people make their mistake. Because instead of putting minus 4 squared, they'll put minus 4 squared. Understand that minus 4 squared is 16. Minus 4 squared without the parentheses is minus 16. This is the biggest area. This is the area where people make the mistake. Right here. Okay. So now I'm going to simplify it. So I get 4. I'm going to come over to the right side. 4 plus or minus the square root of 136 over 10. Well, you're looking at that radical there. Well, listen, don't waste your time. Now I do show you how to do it in my videos, but you got your calculator. Square root of 136. Let's put it in. We get 2 square root of 34. So that way you won't have to waste your time if you do it this way. 2 square root of 34. So 4 plus or minus 2 square root of 34 over 10. Now, you should see 3 different things. You see that 4, that 2, and that 10. This is where you got to find the greatest common factor of 2, 4, and 10. You should see that as 2. So 2 goes into 4 twice, plus or minus. 2 goes into 2 once, 34. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So this is your final answer. If you notice, that took forever. And that's me and knowing how to do it. It took me 4 minutes to do that problem. It took me 4 minutes. How long you think it would take you? Has anybody been doing or working on these types of problems? Has
No.
anybody been working on these types of problems?
Oh, but I've been watching the videos.
Okay, now watch this. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is what I'm trying to tell you, to spend time learning to calculate. Now you see how long that took, right? Watch this.
I know.
Now
that.
I'm about to show you magic right now. Are you ready? You ready? Because you're gonna be. Watch this. I'm gonna grab my calculator. And this just takes. I mean, this really takes like going to the lesson in that ebook and identifying what you need to do. Watch this. A is 5. 5 store A.
Mhm.
Minus 4 store B. Minus 6 store C. And D minus B. Now you can't do plus or minus, so we're gonna do one at a time. We're just gonna do plus. B squared minus 4AC. Over 2A. My first answer is, I mean, that's less than 30 seconds, right? So 2 plus the square root of 34 over 5. Now, the second part is I got to change that plus to a minus. So all I'm going to do is go to the original formula, hit enter, and I'm going to go inside my formula and change that plus to a minus. And I got my second part, because remember, a quadratic equation can have up to 2 solutions. So now it's 2 minus 34, square root of 34 over 5. So this is why they combine them. 2 plus or minus square root of 34 over 5. Less than a minute, I'm done. D, done. And instead of wasting that 5, 6, 7 minutes, 8 minutes to do that problem, what now practice using or plugging in A, B, and C and plugging into your quadratic equation. I believe that's the last lesson in the book, but this is considered a difficult problem. If you can do this in less than a minute, you'll be fine. So let me clear it so you can actually see. I don't know if we're gonna be able to fit everything on the screen because that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. So I'm gonna take a picture once, and then I'll take a picture again. Let me see if I can get. Actually, it wasn't that much. Okay, let me show you another example. Hold on for 1 second. Say, for example, we have, let me open up Schoology real quick. Let me see. Oh, another part of quadratic equation I want to go over real quick, because I've seen a lot of people having issues with quadratic equation. Now, you're only going to have probably 2. So I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time making sure you know how to do them, but this is what you need to know how to do. It might say, I'm just going to make one up real quick. Let me write it down real quick so I can get it. Yeah. Trying to draw brackets here. So just imagine these are brackets. They're not parentheses because I don't want you to think it's an ordered pair. Just brackets. I can't really draw brackets. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm having problems right now. I don't know. But these are the two type of questions you're going to see. They're going to tell you to factor a quadratic equation, and they're going to tell you to solve a quadratic equation. Now, what? But you're given the multiple choice. So how would you, like, if I call this number 1 and I call this 2, how would you do number 1? Can somebody tell me how they would attack number 1? How would you even do this problem? And then both of these are considered difficult problems. So both of these are considered difficult problems. How would you even start number 1? Did anybody know?
Yeah. Right.
Tell me how.
Right off, I can see that C is probably the best answer.
Okay, well, that's not what I asked you. I said, how would you start this problem?
I'm sorry. What I do is, well, okay, Mr. Tinley, what I do is, I factor it. I say 5 3s 15. I had 5 3s 15 and negative, and let me see, 5 3s 15, negative 5 plus negative 5 plus 7, negative 5 plus 3.
So tell me what you're doing.
Everything should add up to 7 and minus 15.
Okay, so that's the first step. So first of all, identifying this as minus 15. That last term is minus 15.
Yeah.
So what you should right away know is minus 3 times minus 5 is what? What is minus 3 times minus 5?
Oh, minus 3.
What is minus 3 times minus 5?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, hold on. It's a bunch of people in here. So nobody can tell me what minus 3 times minus 5 is, like just like that. You should be able to tell me. You should be able to multiply your sign numbers very quickly.
15. Negative 15.
So that we must make sure we not, because that's something you should be able to answer quickly. If you can't answer that quickly, then you need to work on your sign numbers. 2 things why people don't pass the test. I'm going to tell you right now. First of all, the number 1 reason they don't pass because they don't finish. The second reason they don't pass is because of sign numbers. This is a skill you must know and have down. You must be able to multiply and divide sign numbers, and you must be able to add and subtract sign numbers, or what I call combining sign numbers. So what you should notice is, and how many people have a calculator right now with them out? I want you to multiply minus 3 times minus 5 and tell me what you get.
Positive 15.
Positive 15. What you should notice right away is 2 negatives, when they're multiplied together, becomes positive. So minus 3 times minus 5 is a positive 15. So there's no way A can be the answer to that. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Also for B, positive 3 times positive 5 is also positive 15. So we already know it can't be B. So at least, even if you didn't know where to start this problem, if you know sign numbers, you can eliminate 2. At least now you got a 50-50 chance to getting it right. Instead of factoring this problem, what I would suggest you do is multiply binomials. So 2x times x is what?
2x.
Was 2x times x?
2x.
Okay.
2x squared.
2x squared. Okay, you got to know your exponent rules. X times x. Remember, since you don't see a exponent, if you don't see an exponent, it is a 1. Remember, when you're multiplying exponents with the same base, you add the exponents. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So x times x is x squared. So 2x times x is 2x squared. What's 2x times minus 5? What is 2x times minus 5?
Negative 15.
Nope.
I mean, sorry, 10. 5 to 10.
So what's the answer? 2x times negative 5. What's the answer?
D.
0.
Nope.
Negative 3.
Nope.
Positive 3.
Nope. 2x times negative 5. I
Negative
didn't say 2x plus 5. I didn't say 2x minus 5. I said 2x times minus 5.
Negative 10.
Negative 10 what?
Negative 10 squared.
Negative
X.
10 what? Negative 10x.
Negative
So right away, everyone in this session right now, you need to know how to multiply binomials. Period. And you got to work on it till you get it. Because if you don't know your exponent rules, if you don't know your combining like terms, this test is going to be difficult. You should be able to know what 2x times minus 5 is. So all you're doing is 2 times minus 5, which is minus 10, and then bring the x along with you because your minus 5 doesn't have any variable with it. So minus 10x. Now, what's 3 times x?
3x.
3x. What is 3 times minus 5?
15.
Nope.
Negative
3 times
Negative 15.
negative 15. Then you have like terms. So we're going to bring down our 2x squared. Oops. We're going to bring down our 2x squared. We're going to bring down our minus 15. What is minus 10 plus 3? What is minus 10 plus 3?
Positive 3.
Nope.
Negative 3.
Negative 13.
Nope. Minus 10
7.
plus 3 is negative 7. And listen, and this is what you got to realize. Remember what I told you. Most people do not pass this test because they don't finish and because of signed numbers. The GED for evaluating expressions, for evaluating functions, a lot of times they'll use negative numbers. A lot of times when you got a factor, they'll use negative numbers. They'll have negative numbers in the problem to see if you make sure you can do it. So 2x squared minus 7x minus 15. Well, that's not what we want. We want plus 7x. So now we know the answer is D.
Ooh.
Instead of factoring this, because I'm telling you, if you want, if you want to watch my video on how to factor, matter of fact, let's do it. So you know, like this is how I would recommend you. I would rather you use the multiple choice and know how to multiply binomials because it's much easier. Because if you got to do this the long way and you got to factor this the long way, it's going to take you forever. Let me show you. And again, so what I want you to understand is some of these types of problems are going to take work. So you may only can do one concept for 1 or 2 days. Maybe you spend a week on quadratic equations, but it's important that you understand. So first of all, A is 2, B is 7, C is minus 15. When A is not equal to 1, you got to factor AC. So 2 times minus 15 is minus 30. This is the long way, I'm telling you. So you rather learn how to multiply binomials than any other way. So we got 1 and minus 30, 2 and minus 15, 3 and minus 10, 4 doesn't go into 30, 5 and minus 6. Then you're going to reverse the signs on both sides, minus 1 and 30. And this is me knowing how to do it. Just imagine if you had to learn how to do it, how long it's going to take you. So my advice to you is to make sure you know how to multiply binomials. So now you want to find the pair that's going to give you B. So the pair that gives me B, a positive 7, are those two right there. Minus 3, 10 minus 3 is 7. So now you got to combine it. So you got 2x squared plus 10x minus 3x minus 15. What, Mr. Tensley, what did you just do? So I exchanged 7x for these two values, 10x minus 7x. And then you can factor by grouping. So you look at this, what the greatest common factor of 2 and 10 is 2. The lowest exponent here is x. So I'm going to pull out a 2x. So we got x plus 10. So if we check it, 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times, oops, that's a 5. See, everybody make mistakes, even me. Even me, plus 5. So if we check it, 2x squared plus 10x. Again, this is what you do. This should be commonplace to check your work. Let me erase this. Then we're going to factor the other side. Let me change my color to red here. Minus 3x minus 15. So what you should notice is I can pull a 3 out. But I want a plus 5, so that means I'm going to pull a negative 3 out. So if I take a negative 3, I have x plus 5. You have a common factor of x plus 5. That means you can combine these two terms. So we got 2x minus 3 times x plus 5. I can guarantee you, listen to what I'm telling you, this takes weeks to get down. So my suggestion is learn how to multiply binomials or learn how to plug in to your calculator. But 2x minus 3, that's the same answer we got before, 2x minus 3 times x plus 5. So we still got the same answer, but this took much longer, right? Now, the second thing I want to show you is solving a quadratic equation. Hold on, Mr. Tensley, I thought that's what we were doing. This is what you do. So let me show you. You factor a quadratic equation so you can solve it. You factor a quadratic equation so you can solve it. That's the whole purpose of factoring a quadratic equation, so you can solve it. So you won't have to plug in to the quadratic formula, because that takes forever, right? Watch this. So very easy to solve. So let me do an easier one first. X plus 5, x minus 3. So if I this is x squared plus 2x minus 15. This is the quadratic equation. Well, Mr. Tensley, how'd you do that so fast? 5 minus 3 is 2. 5 times minus 3 is negative 15. So if you practice enough, you'll be able to do it that quickly. But what you got to realize is after you factor quadratic equation, you have to find the zeros. You have to find what values of x would make this 0. Why? Because remember, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So whatever you put in for x must equal to 0. So the opposite of plus 5 is minus 5. The opposite of minus 3 is plus 3. So you got two values of x that will solve this quadratic equation. That means if I plug a 3 into x, watch, 3 squared plus 2 times 3 minus 15 equal to 0. 9 plus 6 minus 15. 9 plus 6 is 15. 15 minus 15 give you 0. That's what solving a quadratic equation is. So we factor first, then we find the zeros to solve it. But then, hold on, Mr. Tensley, that's pretty easy. I could see how you got minus 5. I could see how you got plus 3. But what do you do when you have 2x minus 3 times x plus 5? What do you do? What value of x would make this 0? I'm going to show you a nice little shortcut. Take the opposite sign, so plus 3 over 2. So plus 3 over the coefficient of x. Are you sure that's right, Mr. Tinsley? Again, let's check it. 2 times 3 over 2 minus 3. 2 times 3 is 6 over 2 minus 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. That's what you, so you get a quadratic equation, you factor the quadratic equation, you solve the quadratic equation. Second step, identify quadratic equation, identify A, B, and C, plug into the quadratic formula. That's the two ways you should work on to solve a quadratic equation. Now, watch this. So plus 3 over 2 is my first one. My second one is minus 5. So the two solutions for this quadratic equation are 3 over 2 and minus 5. Okay, well, Mr. Tinsley, that was kind of rough. My head is spinning. You just gave me a headache. I don't know what to do. That's what you're thinking right now. I already know what you're thinking. I've been doing math for years. And this is why I made the ebook. This is why I showed you these shortcuts so you can pass your test, so you can get that diploma. Oops, didn't mean to clear everything out. Let me grab my eraser. Now, if you see the second one where it says solve, and it has the multiple choice. It has the multiple choice. It has the answers for you. So instead of you having to factor it and then solve it, what you do is you grab your calculator and you take the answers and you plug them into the quadratic equation. What does an equation mean? You should know by now that equation means equal sign. I'm solving for a variable, correct? Well, if they gave me the multiple choice, right? A, B, C, and D, one of these are the answers, correct? So watch this. ND 3 over 2 store x. And I'm going to plug it into the quadratic equation. 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. If I get 0, I know it's a solution. Did I get 0?
Mhm.
So right now, I know 3/2 is one of the solutions. So minus 3/2 cannot be it. Why? Because my first x was minus 3/2. So I know C, B, and C can't be the answers because I know 3/2 is one of the solutions. So I'm going to the second one, just plus 5. 5 store x, enter. I'm going to type in my quadratic formula again. 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. Let's see if I get 0. I do not. So that means that is not a solution. So A cannot be it. I'm done. 30 seconds. I cannot stress enough. And I know I've made Schoology for you to practice. But you make sure you know how to use this calculator for two reasons. First of all, if you're going on a CCP, or a community college, or if you're going on to college, you want to make sure you have a conceptual understanding. But you also want to use the calculator to check your work. That's the most important thing. Learn one of the most important steps after you solve something is to check your work. But on the GED, they allow you to use this calculator. And I don't know how many people are going to actually use. Has anybody in this session ever used a quadratic equation in real life? Ever? Anybody? Have you ever used a quadratic equation in real life? Probably not. Unless you're in physics or you're an engineer, you probably haven't, right? So the reason why I made this ebook is so you won't rack your brains. I need you to understand what an equation is. So when you understand what an equation is, you're going to say, for example, let me draw this again. 2x squared plus 7x minus 15 equals 0. What value of x can I put in this equation that's going to give me 0? So when I plug these in to this algebraic expression here, each value, when I get 0, I know that's a solution. I don't have to waste time Factoring out, figure time, what's A, B, and C? They gave you the answer for the quadratic equation. Plug it in. That's what I would say. Now, again, put the hard work in, because once you know how to do, identify your A, B, and C, once you know how to do, put that quadratic formula into your calculator, once you know how to store a variable, and plug it into an algebraic expression, you can also solve an quadratic equation. So listen to what I told you. I said, listen, evaluating an algebraic expression is 2 problems. Evaluating a function is another problem. Being able to store a variable and plug it into a quadratic equation, that's 1 skill. That's going to probably be about 4 problems on your exam. Learn how to store a variable, learn how to evaluate an algebraic expression, learn how to evaluate a function, learn how to plug or substitute a value into an algebraic expression. That's the same thing. It's just that it's a quadratic equation, but it's the same thing. All right. Now, another thing that I saw, I marked about, I'm telling you, I marked about 80 quizzes this week. It was incredible. I was so happy. Marked like 80 questions. When I get to 100, I'm just going to scream outside. I don't know. But this is one of the things I saw. And I'm just going to make some numbers up. 3/4, 7/8, 0.07, 70%. And let me do one more. 0.702. Putting fractions, decimals, percents in order. It is very important. It's one of your first 5. I think I saw about 4 or 5 people get this wrong this week. This is one of the first 5, one of the easiest questions on the exam. So I don't want you to make that mistake. I want you to feel confident when you finish those first 5. Does anybody know 3/4 what the decimal is? Does anybody know what the decimal equivalent of 3/4?
Is it 0.75?
0.75. Does anybody know the decimal equivalent of 7/8?
0.75?
Nope.
Oh, no.
If you don't, quickly put in your calculator, 7 divided by 8.
0.875.
0.875. 0.07 is already a decimal. What is 70% as a decimal? What is 70% as a decimal?
0.7.
0.7. And this is already a decimal, 0.702. So the second thing you're going to do is add zeros. Okay, this has 2 decimal places, this has 3, this has 2, this has 1, this has 3 decimals. So you look at the one that has the most decimal places. So the 2 values that had the most decimal places have 3 decimal places. So what we're going to do is we're going to add zeros to all of them have 3 decimal places. So we're going to add 1 here, we're going to add 1 here, we're going to add 2 here. Does everybody understand that? Then you just look at the numbers. You can almost ignore the decimals.
Mhm.
So now, what's first? What is the least? If I'm putting this on from least to greatest, what number is going to be first?
70. 0.07.
0.07. What's next?
Point
0.700.
0.700. So which is 70%. What's next? So 70, 700. What's next?
702.
0.702. What's next?
750.
Just 3/4. And then what's last?
875.
Stop playing. That's all you gotta do right there. Change the decimal, add the zeros, put them in order. That's it. That's it. Not hard, but you got to work to do it. Listen, a lot of adult educators say, don't worry about the first 5. I'm totally against that. I want to start off and know my first 5 are correct. So I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling good about myself. I don't want to be doubting myself after the first 5, because then I'm going to doubt everything. Am I right or wrong?
Mhm.
All right, so that was the second one that most people had problems with this week. Any other type of problem that you had problems with? It could be from school, G, it could be from a worksheet, it could be from another class, it could be from your adult education classes you're going. Is there any problem or some concept you need further explanation on?
Yes, I need one with uh, inequality.
Inequality. Okay. All right. So let me I'm just gonna make some up real quick. So matter of fact, I should have, let me see, inequality. Hold on, let me stop. Let me find inequality real fast. Let me find one. And you're gonna have 1, 2, maybe even 3 of those. You have to be ready for inequalities. Come on, let me find one. All right, I'm gonna have to open up a I'm gonna have to, I'll make them up. I'll make it up. I'll make them up. Blank, 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 blank. I'll screen 2. I'll make them up. I thought I had something ready, but I'll make them up. So 2x plus 3 is greater than 9. Minus 3x plus 12 equal 21. I just made 3 up. I'm gonna make them as simple as possible so you understand the concept. And then what you can do is, again, you might have 1 or 2 explicit inequalities, and then you're probably gonna have 1 or 2 word problems. And I'll show you the difference. So just like solving any other equation. So when you look at an inequality, you're gonna solve it the same exact way. So first I'm gonna subtract 3 from both sides. Everybody understand why I'm subtracting 3 from both sides? Then you have 2x is greater than 6. Divide by 2 on both sides. The 2's cancel. X is greater than 3. What this means is an inequality has more than one solution. So anything larger than 3 is a solution to this inequality. So a real life example of where you might use the inequality is your break even point. How many platters do I have to sell to break even? Anything over that, I'm making a profit. So I'm happy. So that's a real life equation for inequality. So let's look at the second one.
Mr. Tessie, I have a question. Why how could X be greater than 3?
It could be 3.1, it could be 4, it could be 5, it could be 10, it could be 100. Any X greater than 3.
I thought you would flip this thing to, this sign.
No, don't read into it yet. Do you understand this problem?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. So stay right there. Hold that right there. So on this question, on the second one, I will subtract 12 from both sides. You get minus 3x equal 9. This is what you're talking about. Okay. Again, there's certain times you will switch to inequality. If you will multiply or divide that variable that contains x or contains that variable. So here, I need to divide by -3. Oops, I meant to have a not equal. I'm sorry, not equal, greater than or equal to. So since I got to divide by -3, my -3's cancel. I get x. this inequality then switches.
Mhm.
It switches when you multiply or divide by a negative number. Okay, so when you have your variable, you got to multiply or divide to isolate your variable. You have to multiply or divide by a negative number. You switch the inequality. So this answer is x is less than or equal to -3. So again, this is another place where I saw people having problems. Well, what's a number that's less than -3? Can somebody tell me an example of a number that's less than -3?
-4.
-4, -5, -3.1, -10. That's less than -3. The reason why is because I'm going to go to another problem people have been having issues with too. So now let's do this next one. So remember, if you're trying to isolate your variable and you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to switch the inequality. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this second problem. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change it to -2x. Because I'm going to show you something. This is what the GED is going to do. Example of this third one. I'm already going to tell you. I'm going to let you know. Watch this. So in order to get x by itself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 5 to both sides. I'm going to get -8 is greater than or equal to -2x. Okay, so I need to divide by -2 to get x by itself. -8 divided by -2 is what? What is -8 divided by -2?
4.
4.
4.
So 4 greater than or equal to the -2's cancel. We got x, right? Is that right?
Mhm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No,
You have to flip it.
you gotta flip it. Remember, we divided
Oh,
by
yeah,
a
yeah.
-2. So you gotta flip it.
Mhm.
Less than or equal to. Hold on, but our variable is on the right side. So I'm gonna come over here. 4 is less than x. So now we don't want our variable on the right side. With inequalities, you want your variable on the left. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the x on the left, the 4 on the right, and we're going to switch the inequality again. So my answer is x is greater than or equal to 4. I know your head is spinning right now. So these are the two reasons why you switch the inequality. If when isolating a variable, if you multiply or divide by a negative number, or if your variable is on the right side of the inequality. That's the two reasons why you switch the inequality. And lately, they've been having both in the same problem, where you got to switch the inequality twice. Once because you're dividing or multiplying by negative, and then again because the variable is on the right side.
Excuse me. So on the number line, it's going to be an empty bubble and a shaded bubble.
Okay, so wonderful question. Now, this is the honest to God truth. I haven't seen any graphs on the GED, but let's do it. So x greater than 3 will be 1, 2, 3. Since it's greater than, it's an open circle and an arrow to the right. Matter of fact, let me change that color. Let me change the red. So x greater than 3 will be an open circle and an arrow to the right. For the second one, x is less than -3. 1, 2, 3. So that's your -3. Because it's equal, it's a solid circle with an arrow to the left because it's less than. So the inequality is telling you which way you're going to draw your arrow. If it has an equal sign, it's a solid circle. If it doesn't have an equal, it's an open circle. That easy. People make this harder than it is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Am I going to have an open circle or closed circle?
Open.
Why is it open? Tell me why it's open.
because it's passive.
Has nothing to do whether it's positive or negative. The open circle or closed circle has to do with it has an equal sign. So since this is greater than or equal to 4, you get a closed circle and an arrow to the right. Got me?
Yes.
Okay. So if it has an equal sign, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, solid circle, less than, arrow to the left, greater than, arrow to the right. If it's greater than or less than, open circle, less than to the arrow to the left, greater than, arrow to the right. Now, has anyone who taken the test seen you where they ask you to graph an inequality? I haven't seen one at all. So what happens is in class, they give you all these graphs, all this stuff to do, but I haven't seen one. But if they do, they happen to give you one, if it has an equal sign, less than or equal to, so let me make sure you understand. So let me clear this out. Greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. That gets a solid circle. So, oops, let me move that up. Matter of fact, let me clear it all out. I can actually draw a dot. So, boom, closed circle, arrow to the right. That's terrible, but less than or equal to, closed circle, arrow to the left. If you have just less than, you have an open circle and an arrow to the left. If you have greater than, you have an open circle and an arrow to the right. Got me? Everybody understand that? Now, I haven't seen where they told you to draw a graph yet. Let me see if I can find a problem real quick. Hold on for 1 second. See if I can find one real quick. Come on, let me find one real quick. Come on. Oh my goodness, that one. I don't know. That's too rough. That might give somebody a headache tonight. We don't want to give anybody any headaches tonight. Let me try to find inequality. That's not too bad. I can't find one. I can't find one. But what I did find is something we just discussed earlier. So let me try to. Oh my goodness! Come on, I gotta have one. Nope. Because the one I don't want to give you this crazy one. This is just ridiculous. Yeah, I want to give you that one. Come on. That's 3. That's 2. That's 4. That's 3. That's 3. That's 1. That's 4. Let me see. I can't find it right now, but you inequalities. They're probably going to give you 2 explicit inequalities and then word problems. Word problems, again, you can go online in Schoology and take your inequalities test. That's the best way. I'm gonna give you all the practice and all the questions that you probably gonna need to be prepared for in Schoology. To take those practice. This is a word problem with an inequality in the multiple choice. Okay, but it's part of a linear equation. So all you're looking at is you have a budget of 1325. That means I can't spend more than 1325. So greater than out, greater than out. A and C going already. Just know what you're looking at. Most of the times with the word problems with inequality, you can knock out just knowing what less than or greater than means. So a budget means I can't spend more than 1325. So the amount can't be greater than 1325. My 270 is a fixed amount. It's not going to have a variable attached to it. B, I'm done. So if you go in my linear equations, word problems, identifying what's variable and what's constant. This problem is a 15-second problem. 270, no matter how many people come, no matter how many people eat lunch, that room gonna cost 270. There's no variable attached to 270. Since I know that's a constant, I know that's B. I'm going, done. So the more you use Schoology, you'll see the types of problems. So when you take your test, you can be like, oh, this is light work. And this is why I've been so happy this week to see so many people taking practice exams on Schoology. Listen, when I get 100 in a week, I'm gonna be so happy. I think it was 88. I think I counted 88 problems. Look at one of the most missed questions. Solve linear inequalities in one variable. Solve one variable quadratic equation with real solutions using any appropriate method. So right there, what we did tonight, create one variable linear inequalities. So what we did tonight just covered 3 of the most missed questions on your exam. So Mr. Tinsley, hold on. So if it's the most missed question on the exam, do you think it's going to be on your exam? So you definitely got to be ready for inequality. What's the next question somebody has? So we talked about quadratic equations. We talked about inequalities. Anything else? Or we talked about putting decimals, fractions, and percents in order. Anything else? All right, let me see something. Let me see something. Let me see. Do we know how to let me see. Do we know how to get an equation from an equation from a graph? So for example, which graph represents the equation y equal 1/3 x plus 2? A, B, C, or D. Now you can't even see B or D, but we should be able to do this problem. Which graph represents the equation y equal 1/3 x plus 2? How would you even start to solve this problem?
I think it's A, because I can't see B or D, but I think it's A.
How do you know? I don't want you to think. I want you to know for sure.
Because my Y is positive 2.
My y?
My
Not your
my
y.
C-intercept. I'm sorry.
Your y-intercept, right?
Yeah.
Your y-intercept is plus 2. So your y-intercept plus 2. So right away, there's 2 things you got to remember. So I want you to look at this equation. So this is what I would tell you. And you might be saying, how can I, if I can't see B or D, how can I be sure that that's the answer? So first of all, it's 2 things I want you to be able to do. First of all, 1/3, is that positive or negative?
That's positive.
So we know it's positive. So we know for a fact from left to right, our arrow should be going up.
Right.
So if you look at B, our arrow from left to right is going where?
I can't see B, but I think it's going down.
It doesn't matter because but if you could see one arrow and it was going up, you would be able to see the second arrow, correct?
That's right.
Same thing here, right? It's going down, correct?
Right.
So we know it can't be B or D just because we know it has positive slope. The slope is 1/3. The y-intercept is plus 2. So where does this line cross the y-axis?
0.
At what? At where?
At the origin.
At 0, right? When y is 0 at the origin. So we know it can't be C. Why?
Right,
Because what does the y-intercept mean? The line is going to cross at +2.
right.
This is a 15 to 20-second problem. Identifying my slope is positive or negative, identifying my slope, and identifying my y-intercept. And this almost, if you've taken the GED exam, they give you graphs and you got to identify the equation. It's definitely, that's a damn guaranteed question on your exam. Is it positive or negative? What's the slope? What's the y-intercept? And you can eliminate 2 of the choices because B and D were negative. And then we eliminated C because the y-intercept here of this equation is 0. Got me? Good. All right. So, Simone, you said no. What was that for? Okay, I must have missed it.
That was
I apologize. That was like 6:33, so that's probably a long time ago. I apologize. I didn't see it. Sorry. All right. So, anybody else with another question? What do we have rolling tonight? What do we have? What's something that somebody said, "Oh my goodness, I don't understand it." I'm here to show it to you. Anybody else?
Yes, I have one.
Yes. What is it?
It's you know, Mr. Tinley, those lines like the opposite negative. What's the like say, -5?
Say it again.
The opposite, no, opposites. I forgot the
Okay.
name of it.
You mean solving algebraic equations?
No,
What do you mean opposites?
like say you have -5, and then the opposite is +5. Question.
Right.
Yeah.
But what do you mean? Right. The opposite of -5 is +5.
Yeah.
So remember, inverse operation. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So if I got 2x plus 5 equal 15, in order to get rid of that 5, I'm going to subtract 5. So I got 2x equal 10. The opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide by 2. Okay, so is that what you mean?
No, well, I will try and find
Or
it.
do you mean this?
I think she means side numbers.
No.
What's the distance between these 2 points? So I got a point here, -4. I got a point here, 7. What's the distance between these 2 points? Anybody tell me the answer? What's the distance between those 2 points? This is another question.
11.
A lot of people. Who said 11? Who said 11?
Bridget,
You are right. What most people do, if you put this in words, they'll say, what's the distance between -4 and 7? Most people right away do 7 minus 4 and put 3. That is wrong. Listen to what it's asking you. The distance between 2 points. So if I start here and I got to get here, just count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's all you need for distance between 2 points. So, but on exam though, they might switch it and they might give you temperatures. They might give you temperatures. So now we're talking about -10 degrees. And the temperature went up to +17. I don't know, +17. Again, this is another way to give you absolute value. Understand what absolute value is, the distance away from 0. So for me to get to -10 to 0, I got to go up +10. For me to get to 0 to 17, I got to go up 17. So the distance between -10 and 17 is 27. I saw about 4 or 5 people get this same problem incorrect.
Yeah, Mr. Tinley,
Is that what you're talking about?
yes, that's what I'm talking about. Absolute
Good.
value, absolute value.
Absolute value. The distance away from 0. It is always positive. You distance away from 0. Okay. Distance away from 0. So the distance away, so the distance between minus 10 and plus 17 is 27. Most people answer 7, or most people answer minus 7. It is 27. Guaranteed one of the first 5 problems. You're gonna have absolute value or distance between 2 numbers, one of your first 5. Guaranteed you're gonna have it. Guaranteed. Anything else? Because believe it or not, we already at 7:07, almost 7:10. That was a quick hour.
Probability,
Probability.
compound,
Compound. Okay. So let me open Schoology for that one, because I can't just make up one for that one, but I got a bunch of them. Let me open it up. Again, Schoology is your friend. Now remember, I don't want you spending too much time on any concept. So Elvita, I'm gonna mute you because I hear some background noise. Oh no, that wasn't Elvita. Who was that? That was Bridget. So I had to mute you just for right now because I hear oh, I'm sorry to hear that. I'll say a prayer for you, so that's okay. All right, so I forgot I was doing that quick. What did you ask me to do? I forgot that quick. I'm sorry. Probability, compound probability. All right, so we're gonna go to compound probability. Now I hope somebody doesn't get mad, but I'm going to use their quiz. I'll hide the name probably because I know I marked like 4 probability exams today. So let me go to one right here. This is from a pretest. Yeah, I'm gonna use that one right there. Here's another one. Oh, a lot of people took probability today. Wow, it's good. Now, let me explain something to you. So again, remember, so it's important that in also in the ebook, I tell you the number of problems to expect. So therefore, probability may only have 1 or 2 problems. So don't spend a whole lot of time on probability because you might only have 1 or 2. Okay. So let's find one. Let's find one. Let me hide the name. There we go, right there. There we go. The first one I've seen, it came right up. So let me drag this over. Okay. In a deck of, let me increase the zoom a little bit. In a deck of playing cards, what is the probability of drawing a club and then a second club without replacement? What? Why do I need to know that? Because you need to pass your GED. So no, any kid. How do you know is this simple probability or compound? And how do you know which one it is?
Compound,
How do you know it's compound?
2 events going on.
2 events. And those 2 events is you picking one card, then you picking another. That's 2 events. So that's how you know it's compound. So first of all, we got to find the simple probability of each event. So the probability of picking a club is equal to the number of clubs in a deck over the total number of cards. So how many clubs in a deck? Anybody know?
13 over 52.
13 over 52. You could reduce that to 1 over 4. Everybody understand that? Now, this is the key right here. The probability of picking a second club. But the key, it says without replacement. That means you're not putting that club back in the deck. So if you started with 13 and you picked the club and you're not putting it back in the deck, how many clubs do you have left?
12.
12. If you started with 52 cards and you didn't put that card back in the deck, how many total cards do you have?
51.
51. So now we got the probability of picking the first club was 1 in 4. And we have the probability of picking the second club, which is 12 over 51. You cross cancel, 4 going to 4 once, 4 going to 12 3 times, And we got 3 over 51. Hold on, 3 over 51, but we can reduce that even more. Even though it looks like a number, like what? Like, can I reduce that? That's why you use your calculator. So, as we don't see 3 over 51, but 3 can go on 51 17 times. So 1 over 17 is the final answer. Now, how would you do that with the calculator? Let me show you. Again, probability, most of them, you can use your calculator, you can get in and out and be done. Okay, so first of all, you got to realize that probability is a fraction. So 13 over 52 times ND 12 over 51. You don't have to spend a whole lot of time doing anything. 1 over 17. That's the fraction. If they want the decimal, hit your double arrows. 0.058. If they wanted the percentage, second and convert to a percentage, 5.88. Or if you want to round it to the nearest whole percent, 6%. So remember, they can ask you probability. They can give you the answers in fractions, decimals, or percents. You have to be ready for all three. So the fraction was 1 over 17. The decimal was 0.058 or 0.06, depending upon what they ask you to round off to. And the percentage would be 5.88%, or if they told you round to the nearest whole percent, 6%. Does that help you?
Wow.
Good, good. So again, if you scored over a 70 or 80, 80 I consider mastery. So if you take a test or a quiz and you score over 80, move on. And what you can do is write the problem down, or when you do your one-on-one, say, listen, I got an 80 on these quizzes, but these are the problems I didn't understand. Can you explain them to me, or can we go over? Or you can, you can try to work it yourself too. But again, I don't want to spend too much time on any one area. So if you score 80 or above, keep it moving, keep it moving, keep it moving. If you scored on your practice test over 60, and you took 2 or 3, now not the same practice test, different practice tests, but if you scored over 60 and you took 2 or 3 of them, you need to schedule your one-on-one with me so we can go ahead and schedule you to take your test. Let me say that again. If you've taken 2 or 3 practice tests and you have scored over a 60, you need to schedule a one-on-one with me so we can schedule your real exam so you can get it done. Hold on, Mr. Tinsley, I want a 70, I want an 80, I want the 90. Listen, in order to understand all these concepts fully, would take months. Our goal is can we understand enough to pass? Now, if you're going on to a training program, nursing program, community college, or college, then you can spend the time making sure you know it. But let's get the diploma out the way. I have 4 students that are still using Schoology and they're in college or training program, nursing program, because they need the same type of math and make sure they fully understand it. So let's get the diploma out the way. Let's knock this math test out the way. And then if you want to go deeper into it, you can. You can spend as much time as you want. Let's get this test done. Any more questions before we close out this evening? We had a nice look. If you are new this evening, make sure you put your email in the chat so I can send you a copy of tonight's session and the screenshots. And then you also have an invitation to every other session, because I saw quite a few new people tonight. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tonight. Very good turnout. Any more questions before we leave?
Mr. Tinley, you know about the ebook, right? But I was trying to download it. I downloaded it. I was trying to print it off, but
put it back on. My strategy was, after you download the ebook, look at your GED Ready practice test. Look at which sections you had trouble with, right? And then go to those sections in the ebook first. So go to the basics first. Know how to, use the basics of the calculator. But then use your practice test to identify the areas you need the most. So go to that section in the ebook. Once you go over the ebook, you got practice sections in ebook. Then come to Schoology and take those quizzes and take your assessments, and then move through it that way. Okay.